wasn't until I was maybe 19 or so. I had a girlfriend that took me to a store. It was like one of those crystal stores and everything.
Oh,
And when I walked in there,
why
I
did you say that in
felt
front
like
of Jesse? I'm just kidding.
I don't, maybe Jesse knew of this store back in the day. It was in El Centro on Main Street called
Yeah, on
Divine
Main Street.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
Of course
I
she knew
walked
it.
in there, and and I had already at this point I've already seen the cowboy. I'd seen other stuff, and I walked in there and I had this really heavy force. Like it felt like almost like a wall that I couldn't really want to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it. Kind of like like being held back. Like don't come in. And the lady that was there, she was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and this girlfriend, she was deaf, so she was like writing notes to her, and she was telling her like this lady came out and she goes, "What are you feeling?" And I told her like I feel like kind of like if there's hands or something pushing me outside, like it doesn't want me here. I've never gone back to that store. All I know is that ex-girlfriend, she had put like a curse, maybe not a curse, but she took things of mine back to her mother, and wanted, basically was to try and tie me down with her for life.
Like
And it
brujería?
was like, yeah, like brujeria. Like she didn't want to, she had all kinds of things that she was like bringing to that lady to basically.
How did you find this out?
They told me, the
you just
daughter told me.
activated Jesse. You see that? You activated Jesse.
Shut up, Sergio.
I can't remember her daughter's name, but she told me about it finally at one point, because I ran into that with that specific girlfriend. I ran into a lot of mental and physical abuse. She was beating me up, and I had friends everywhere telling me, they were like, "You need to get away from her." And I was like, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to." Like, I just, with all my soul, I was not going to leave her. Like, and one year at the fair, these people would put a post up there, a little stand up there for their thing, like selling their stones and their incense and things like that. And I would always go say hi to her. And she ended up telling me, she says, "I want to let you know that your girlfriend has been coming to my mother. And she keeps bringing, like, she had like my old uniform shirts or, other little things that I had. And she would bring them to the mother, and the mother would use them basically.
To do amarres.
Yeah, to
Amarres,
hold
right?
me.
Yeah.
And so that girl told me, I want to give you this oil, or I don't even remember what it was. She's like, take it. And at that point, I was still very much like thinking church wise, and I was like, I can't accept things like that. Like, this is brujeria,
Yeah.
And the lady's like, "No, you need to use this to get away from her." And I was like, "Well, what do I do?" And she's like, "Just start using this, light a candle, whatever it was at the time she told me to do." And I was like, "No, I don't believe in this." And well, I started realizing that the situation I was in was really bad.
Right.
And I was realizing I need to get away from it, but something kept holding me back from wanting to get away from it. And I finally said, "Well, let me light this candle and use this thing, this, like, it was
anointment
like
oil.
There you go, anointment." And and so I said, "Whatever, I'll try it." And sure enough, within a few days, I want to say like maybe like a week or two, I didn't want to go to her house. She showed up at my house, and I just turned around and said, "Hey, me and you got to cut this off. We're done." And it was like the hardest like breakup, because her family got involved.
I remember this.
People started like coming after me and threatening me. It was like big.
Yeah, it was big.
And finally I got away. I mean, it took me a long time, but years passed before I finally ran back into her mom at a Walmart. And we had a talk, me and the mom, and and I loved her parents. I loved her family. Like, I honestly, like, their family was very close to me. Her uncle was very close, and rest in peace, he passed away last year.
Mm-hmm.
I just ran in and started talking to her, and it turns out the whole family has finally pushed her away, because she got very into the amarres, the brujerias that we were talking about,
and shit, like that stuff.
Yeah, like she was visiting people to do that stuff for her, and she tells me that they tried to make her stop, and they couldn't. And then she opened up to tell me that actually her daughter had an exorcism performed on her when she was young.
What?
because before I met this girl, well, when she was young, she was speaking and hearing.
No
She wasn't
way.
deaf her whole life. And when she was a little girl, she got what they thought was at the time meningitis. And they had been in and out for doctors and hospitals and all this stuff, and they couldn't figure out really what she was sick of. And they ended up calling in the neighbor, which was like a shaman, and he says, "No, we need to do an exorcism." And so they ended up calling in a priest that showed up, and the priest verified. And the priest, he was a Catholic priest, verified, had to go through the diocese, had to go through different. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm pretty sure. I know now it's a lot all the way up to the Vatican. I don't know how it was back then. You know, she was 7 years older than us, but she she ended up having a bishop come down from San Diego, and they actually performed a full exorcism on her in her home in El
What?
Centro. And I had no idea this had ever happened. And they turned out the illness that she had, which they thought was a long time standing meningitis, started going away, and all that was left was she stayed deaf.
Mm,
And I mean, I have,
that's crazy.
yeah, that's a crazy story that I lived through with her. And the fact that I found out that she was doing these amarres, like, to hold me there,
To hold you there.
I mean, that's like, that really hit me deep. But I started at that point is where my eye opened, and I said, I don't think there's any, Oscar, to answer Oscar's question, I don't think there's any escape. I think we all have this certain energy that we're going to live with. Like, it's always going to
Yeah,
be there.
forever.
There's, a lot, I think, that we'll never escape. We'll
Mm-mm.
always have that with us. And then when we do come together, it's kind of like Jesse's energy, Sergio's energy, my energy, like all of it, like, combines. And I think it's just like it opens up something where it's like, hey, we're all here. Hello. Kind of like a big
Yeah, we're all
beacon on a map, you
chilling.
know?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
chilling, and all the entities we've ever known in our lives are going to come together and start fucking and doing all kinds of crazy.
Fucking stupid asshole.
Fucking orgy and shit.
Yeah,
And
Buddy.
look, it just
So to touch on Buddy's story, okay? Buddy left out one piece of information from his breakup. Okay, he didn't say it out of respect, but I'm going to say it for him. What Buddy did to break up with her, he pulled out a bag of chakra crystals and threw it in her face and ran away.
oh my god.
It
you're
was
so
a bag of
stupid.
salt.
You
God.
know what's funny? I can imagine you doing that, like throwing it and then just running away. Stay away from me.
You're like, pocket sand.
Oh, the crazy thing to think about. But I truly do believe that. And Jessie also has a bag of chakra crystals somewhere too. She's waiting to throw it at people, or I'm sure.
I
As well.
keep my crystals with me all the time and my elephants and everything.
Buddy, as soon as you got into like brujería and chakra crystals, I don't know if you noticed that Jessie was just like,
Oh, I saw. I know you guys probably had your stream good, but you guys had your stream going good, and Jesse's monitor is on the left of me. And when
Okay.
I said that, like, her screen froze, and her eyes were like,
Tell me more.
honestly, Bud, I'm glad you brought that up on the show. Because I only knew the surface level parts of your relationship with her, and we knew the friend group knew that it wasn't healthy for you because we would see how she would treat you at times. We knew that part, but we didn't know the deeper side of it, that she was practicing santeria, santeria and brujeria on you, and that's super unsettling.